I hear their voices when I sleep. I've seen the worst of war, but I can't escape the images of the Strogg. A metallic spine jutting awkwardly through muscle, flesh and bone fused with wires and steel. I hear their voices when I sleep, created for war and fueled by the blood of their enemy. This isn't just a nightmare. It's who I've become.
Rumors about the terrifying process of stroggification have always circulated, painting horrific pictures of a macabre metamorphosis where bodies are mercilessly twisted and reshaped, birthing a new nightmare, the Strogg. One instance of a stroggification facility was previously observed in Australia, where the Strogg had overtaken an abandoned fortified base to develop an advanced stroggifier. Despite being told time and again about the horrors of stroggification, this instance pales in comparison to the abominations we're now uncovering on Stroggos, revealing a perspective never before witnessed, as no one had returned to recount the horrific tales. The method unfolds within Strogg facilities as a meticulously, painfully brutal transformation. The one we observed is concealed within a mountain, utilizing natural fortifications against enemies' bombardment. These hidden labyrinths house various specialized stations for each segment of the procedure, ensuring a relentless production of new units as long as the necessary components are available.
Transfer approved.
Upon arrival, subjects are stripped of all their equipment and immobilized on a surgical table. It's likely that heavy sedation is employed to significantly reduce the subject's ability to move, not only to prevent escape attempts, but also to allow the procedure to be conducted with reduced chance of fatal risks. The entire body, both inside and out, is meticulously scanned, allowing the rest of the process to precisely align and integrate every forthcoming component. At the following station, the horror begins. Using a large acerate rod, subjects are injected a concoction of steroids, nanite colonies, and health-related medications directly into the torso. These are essential to ensure the victim doesn't succumb to the imminent trauma he will endure. From a distance, a Strogg scientist oversees this process, making adjustments as needed for what lies ahead. While this might appear merciless, it could be pragmatic, aiming to excise parts irrelevant to a Strogg's functionality, like facial features, or those that could complicate the integration of necessary components. The next phase is arguably the most sinister. With no anesthesia, a large saw blade severs the legs of the subject. Cutting through the flesh, muscles and bones, the human body has a limit to how much pain it can endure before its receptors and nervous system become overloaded and shut down, the body's way of escaping intolerable pain. Following this is the brutal integration of equipment into the victim's body. Although it might appear more tolerable than the amputation, the process of bolting or melding equipment onto the subject is excruciating, as parts are directly connected to their neural system. This pain would not just be at the physical site of integration, but could also manifest as electrical or burning sensations shooting throughout the body as nerves are directly stimulated or damaged. This is a perfect example why subjects are injected with nanite colonies before the procedure. While the previous step might be deemed the most horrifying and brutal, the subsequent one could seemingly be the most dangerous. the implantation of a neurocyte. This chip is inserted through the skull to lodge within the brain tissue, specifically targeting the prefrontal cortex. This region is crucial for language, working memory, reasoning, and executive functions. Although the exact function of the technology remains unclear, it is known to contain an onboard AI, which likely plays a role in commandeering these brain functions. It leaves much of the host's original attributes intact, while enabling comprehension of the Strogg language and, crucially, suppresses any form of resistance, ensuring complete obedience to commands from the Nexus upon activation. All subjects that sustain excessive damage are sent to the waste processing facility, where their remains are systematically repurposed, ensuring that nothing is wasted. Once activated, the Neurocyte converts the subject into a Strogg, a transformation considered irreversible with current human scientific understanding.
All higher brain functions have atrophied, which indicates the subject was incapable of independent thought. The transceiver located at the base of the skull shows almost all action was dictated by an external source. I believe for a short time after Stroggification, the subject was aware of his actions but was unable to control them. Chilling scenario, to say the least.
However, anomalies within the narrative stand out. In particular, Infiltrator 1815 represents a unique case.
Dear Peaker, sorry I sent you out beyond the drone distance parameter. Overcautious since the incident. Now you're non-functional and waiting for a replacement neurocyte. Strange being droneless, lonely, even with perpetual Strogg communication.
The mere fact that a Strogg is capable of producing audio logs deviates from the expected behavior. His communicative abilities seem elevated compared to his peers, and he exhibits emotional responses, suggesting his cerebral functions are more intact than is typical for Strogg.
Macron, request immediate permission to process human. Advise.
Furthermore, his determined effort to intercept Bitterman, despite lacking direct orders from the Macron, indicates a remarkable degree of autonomy. These observations imply that the neurocyte's influence on his brain might not be all-encompassing, raising questions about his original species' inherent resistance to the neurocyte, or whether an implantation error permitted him to retain a greater semblance of his original self under Strogg control.
Warning, scanning system